because I asked, what's the best? Golan Heights, is it? Is it Jerusalem, the capital, moving the embassy and all of that? What is the best? What's the best? Is it the Abraham Accords? And some friends of mine that are very smart, no, not even close. The best thing you ever did for Israel is you terminated the Iran nuclear deal, which was the worst deal ever made for Israel or for any country. That was the best. That's true. That was more important. Remember, that was more important than any of the other things, of the many other things that we did. The problem is that Harris, Kamala, and Biden did absolutely nothing with it. You could have made after the election, which we had a very bad thing.
They purposely didn't prolong the Abraham Accords because they didn't want to give Trump that victory on his record.
Happened with that election.
Nothing.
Think of it. If that election were proper, you wouldn't have had Russia attacking Ukraine. You wouldn't have had October 7th, would have never happened because, as you know, Iran had no money at that time. None, zero, nothing. They had no money to fund. There were stories about it, that there was no money for terror. You wouldn't have had inflation. You wouldn't have had that horrible leaving of Afghanistan in such a way, not the leaving because we were ready to leave. We would have left before them, but we were leaving with strength and dignity. That was the worst. I think it was the lowest day, the most embarrassing day in the history of our country. Because of that, probably that's why Putin went in. He would have never gone in with me, though. But all of these things, and on top of everything else, I gave them more than $20 billion, Israel. And I said, when I did it, I said, I'm the best friend they ever had. And still, in 2020, so remember, I got 25%. Now I did all of these things, and I got 29%. Think of it. So I wasn't treated right.
He's talking about the Jewish vote in America. He got 25% in 2016, got 29% in 2020. Hopefully it'll go up, but it's still looking like he only has 34% at this point, which is insane considering what he's done for Israel and the Jewish people.
But it's not me that's been treating badly. It's Israel, because you can make a big difference in the vote. You're going to be a big factor in the vote. I will say places like Miami and different places were great. But honestly, I went from 25 to 29. And based on what I did and based on my love of the same love that you have, I should be at 100. I should be at 100. But let me give you the bad news. A poll, I just told you how good the polls are, but we need every vote we can get. The current polling has me with Jewish citizens, Jewish people that's supposed to love Israel. After having done all of that, having been the best president, the greatest president by far, a poll just came out. I'm at 40%. That means you got 60% voting for somebody that hates Israel. And I say it's going to happen. It's only because of the Democrat hold or curse on you. You can't let this happen. 40% is not acceptable because we have an election to win. So after all of this, I went from 29 to 40%. And people that are smart said to me,
he's 100% right to be angry. He's 100% right to be angry. People should be pissed. As a Jewish American voting for Trump, it's very, very agonizing knowing the fact that most Jews are voting against Israel, against the Jewish people, against our future, basically.
My Jewish friend of mine loves Israel, loves everything about your religion and about your country, your place. He said, I can't believe it's happening. It's sad. And he started to cry, actually. He started to cry with all of this. And he's a tough cookie. I don't think he cried since he was a little tiny baby. Maybe then I don't think he cried. I don't think he cried then, Miriam. But I will put it to you very simply and gently. I really haven't been treated right, but you haven't been treated right because you're putting yourself in great danger. And the United States hasn't been treated right. So if I don't win this election, and I've been very good, they say Trump's been right about everything. I've been right about a lot of things. Even Ted will admit that. I've been right about a lot of things that a lot of people said, no, that won't happen, but a lot of bad things happened and some good things I've been right about too. And I only want to be, so I'm not going to call this as a prediction, but in my opinion, the Jewish people would have a lot to do with a loss. If I'm at 40%, if I'm at 4, think of it, that means 60% are voting for Kamala, who in particular is a bad Democrat. The Democrats are bad to Israel, very bad. They'll never change because they have a section of their party now which has become amazingly and quickly very powerful vote-wise. I mean, Chuck Schumer is a Palestinian. Who would have thought that was going to happen? What the hell happened to him? I saw him the other day. He was dressed in one of their robes. Now, that'll be next. No.
He's referring to when Chuck Schumer called called for Netanyahu to resign, but also again, constantly calling for Israel to basically do a ceasefire and all this fucking bullshit talk from the radical left.
No, Chuck Schumer is Hamas all the way. I don't know what the hell happened to him. If you support him, you're crazy. I have never seen his change may be bigger than Kamala on fracking in Pennsylvania, okay? But if we don't win this election, Israel, in my opinion, within a period of 2 to 3 years, will cease to exist. It's going to be wiped out. That's what's going to happen. It's a tough thing to say, but what difference does it make from my standpoint? I have to tell you the truth, and maybe you'll be energized because there's no way that I should be getting 40% of the vote. I'm the one that's protecting you. These are the people that are going to destroy you, and you have 60% of the Jewish people essentially voting for them. If I do win, Israel will be safe and secure, and we will stop the toxic poison of anti-Semitism from spreading all over America and all over the world. We'll get it stopped. But if I don't win, I believe Israel will be eradicated, and you can't let that happen. And I don't think you will let that happen. So you have to, Rabbi, you have to get everybody together, and you have to get them to vote, because it's crazy to say I'm at 40%. And when I heard that number today, it just came out today. When I heard that number today, I think it was insulting to our country. It was insulting to Israel. It's very interesting. They did a poll in Israel. I'm like at 99% favorable. I could run for, right now, I could run for any office in Israel. But in Israel, they love me. Here, not so much. But they do love me in Israel. Miriam, I'm at 90.
He's not wrong about that. I mean, it's not 99%, but it is very, very drastically in favor of Trump. In Israel, Israelis really like Trump.
99%. Everybody loves me. I could run for prime minister. Would you like me as your prime minister? But I have to learn your language. That's a tough language to learn. I have to learn it in about 3 months. I have to learn it very quickly. But no, I'm most popular person in Israel. But here it doesn't translate. It's a strange thing. So we have to save Israel. Look, you're here for a reason. We have to save Israel. This is no longer games. This is no longer games. This is the saving of Israel. And I'm going to mention it. We're making a big statement in a little while at another conference, also very important. And I'm going to mention it again and again. I believe that Israel will be wiped off the face of the earth if I don't win. And that's a big statement. That's a horrible statement to make. And it's just the way I feel. And a lot of people in this room agree with me. Because look at what's happened in the last 2 years. I have never seen anything like it, where something has gone so down so fast, where even Jewish people are protesting in these groups. They're Jewish people. People wearing yarmulkes are in these groups that are protesting with 100,000 people. So they have to change their way, because with your vote, you can reject anti-Semitism in our schools, in our communities, in our foreign policy, and in our immigration system. But all of that starts by rejecting Kamala Harris at the ballot box. She is anti-Israel and she is anti-Jewish, and you got to get smart to it. And with that, I have great love and great respect for so many of the people in the room. I have so many friends in this room. I fought so hard for you, but it's time that you fight the real fight. And the real fight is to save Israel. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Wow. Just an incredible incredible speech by Trump. I think he accomplished everything he needed to in that speech. We'll see if the vote changes. It still looks like the Jewish vote is going to Harris and the Democrats for another year. Although it's slowly shifting, it's still very, very depressing and negative, the fact that they're still going to get around 60% of the Jewish vote, maybe more. For more, subscribe to Jewish Uncensored. If you want to help us make more of these videos, go to buymeacoffee.com/JewishUncensored.